Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, call Halal Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostle and the elder, great millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that's watching and learning. To you, I say shalom. I also want to give a shalom to the Akim that's out on these highways and byways, lifting up the name of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, doing this work in all truth and sincerity, making themselves a living sacrifice unto our power. To you, I say shalom. I also want to give a shalom to the newly awakened, those who the Most High is blessed with understanding, to these scriptures. May you study to show thyself approved. To you, I say shalom. I'm the brother Nakamaya coming at you with another lesson. Right, and the name of this lesson right here is ain't quite got a name for it yet, but it's gonna be concerning some comments that Nick Cannon made during this video. And let me say before this, brothers, through the spirit of the power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, brothers, keep the pressure up, man. Keep the fight going, man. Because these devils are hurt. I did a video yesterday about Nick Cannon, and and I already kind of had a feeling that was going to be a hot topic, especially for the public and those who lack this wisdom, But it didn't really last long. It was up for maybe like an hour or two and it got snatched down. But as you go to show you how this word is affecting this devil, man. He's hurt, right? So all praise and honor and glory to the Most High. It's just a sign that we almost out of here, right? Because this, we cutting the ring off on this devil. He has nowhere to run, and the Most High is exposing him. More and more on a daily basis. So let's just keep laboring. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and just know that our work is not in vain. Everything all work together for its glorification, right? Even this persecution that's coming, right? But what I want to get into in this lesson, right, is one of Nick Cannon's statements. Him and the ex-rapper from Public Enemy was having an interview, and they were discussing where evil came from, and they were trying to connect, they were trying to say a lack of melanin, causes evil, right? So what we're gonna do, right? Since he's a hot topic and everybody's, pretty much searching for the truth now. A lot of our people are waking up. They're hearing the comment. They see the controversies, right? So what we're gonna do is do a lesson on where evil actually comes from, right, and how it came about, and who they actually are today, right? I'm gonna try not to make this video too long, but I got a lot to go into, so let's go ahead and get into it. Hope this lesson is edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so what I want to start off with is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9. Now, in this lesson here, we just gonna pretty much just be dealing with the curses. Right, I'm just gonna pretty much skip right down to the curses. I ain't gonna be breaking down like the fruits and all that stuff like that. Now I got another video called "Through Thy Precepts I Get Understanding." If you want to know what the fruit, the trees, and all that is, but we're not gonna get into that. We just pretty much gonna be centered around the curses, right, and how all the curses connect in the roles that they play. Right, so let's go ahead and get into this lesson. Right. Now, the reason why I want to open up with the book of Revelations 12 and 9, because I want to go ahead and deal with this serpent before we get into the scriptures. Right. Now, for a lot of us that's in this truth, or if you've been in this truth for a little bit, then the serpent is really a man. But for those who might come across this video and don't know it, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this here real quick, just to prove it. So I got the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 9. And the great serpent was cast out, that old serpent, or Slakia, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Right? Now we go into the book of Genesis. A lot of these Christians, or people who really lack knowledge. For the longest time, they were under the assumption that the serpent was actually a snake. But once we start dealing in these scriptures, we and when we get the understanding, we come to terms that the snake is really a man, and devil just means deceiver. And Satan just means adversary of God. That's all it means. Those are just really pretty much titles. But this is a man. Now to prove it even further, let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 2 and verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Right? So at what point have anybody, right, have anybody ever been cast in prison by a devil with horns and a tail and a pitchfork? Right? At no point. Right, so this is letting you know that this devil is actually a man, but not just actually a man, but he actually owns prisons as well. Right, you see that? If you can receive that, right? Because what these churches like to do is they make a fairy tale out of truth, and now that just comes from lack of knowledge. So let's go ahead and get into the lesson. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's go. On this right side, I got on this left side of the screen, I got the book of Genesis. I'm gonna read verse 1. And then we just going to go ahead and skip right down to the curses. Now, if you want to read the rest of it, you can go ahead and do that in your spare time, right? Because like I said, this lesson here is just really, really pretty much going to be centered around, the curses, right? So I got the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord power, Yahweh, by Shem Yahushua had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have power said, ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden? Now, you can go ahead and read, the deception right there. Because like I say, just for the sake of time, we just really want to pretty much deal with the curses. Right? So we're gonna go ahead and jump down to after they were deceived and where they're receiving their punishment or their curses rather. All right, so let's jump down to okay, well, let's jump down to, I started at 12. Actually, let me start at 11. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shalt not eat? Verse 12. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Verse 13. And the Lord power said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Right? So verse 14. Now, this is where the cursing starts, right? So we're going to get you a pen and paper, because we're going to be going back and forth on certain things. So in order for you to get a real, good understanding, you might want to write some of these things down, because we're going to have to revisit some of these, these precepts to get an understanding of what's going on, right? So let's go ahead and get into these curses. Got the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 14. And the Lord Yahweh, thy power, said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Right? So let's start right there. Now we know the serpent is not really a serpent, right? So if he's not really a serpent, this curse that he's getting, that's cursing him above all cattle and above every beast of the field, it's just saying that he's cursed above all people. Because in these scriptures, men are also known as beasts. Men are also known as beasts, right? So just keep that in mind, right? Upon thy belly shall thy go, and dust shall thy eat all the days of thy life, right? So upon his belly shall he go, and thus shall he eat all the days of his life. That just pretty much means that he's going to be in a lower state. Now to prove that, let's go to the book of Isaiah real quick. Isaiah, Slakia. I didn't want that. Slakia. Let's go to the book of Isaiah real quick. 47. 47 and 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit down on the ground. Sit on the ground, Slakia. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So when he says sit in the dust, right? That just pretty much means you're going to be in a lower state, right? There is no throne, so come down, right? There is no rulership, right? So when he tells the serpent, let's go back to it. Genesis, Slakia. Genesis 3, 15. Now when he tells the serpent that thus shall thou eat all the days of thy life, this means he's going to be in a lower state, right? In a state of confusion, chaos, right? Got verse 15. Genesis 3 and 15. All right, let's get some more of these curses. Right? And I will put enmity. Remember, we're dealing with the serpent. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman. And enmity means hatred. Right? So he's going to put hatred between the serpent and the woman. All right? And between thy seed and her seed. Right? And between the serpent's seed and her seed. Right? So their children are going to have enmity, hatred between each other. Right, so the woman and the serpent is going to hate each other, and the serpent seed and the woman's seeds are going to hate each other, right? And the serpent seed just represents the wicked, right? And the woman's seed represents the righteous, right? Because Israel is also known to be a tender and delicate woman, right? Let's get this verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Right? So the serpent seed is going to bruise the woman's seed's head, and the woman's seed is going to bruise the serpent seed's heel. Now you need to write this down, right? Because these are going to be the links and the bridges, right? That's going to string all this together, right? That's going to connect the serpent with Esau, right? The seed. So write that down, right? Because we're gonna come back to that. It's gonna be important toward the end. All right, now we got the curses that's placed on the serpent. Now let's get the woman. And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows and thy conception, right? In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be unto thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So that's the curses for the woman, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis. Let's go 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Now, write this down, because he just cursed the ground. Right, and this curse right here is huge. It's big time, right? And we're gonna get into that a little later. Right? So go ahead and write that down, because this curse right here, as we're gonna see later, right, it's also the Most High establishing servitude. Right? And we'll get to that a little later. Right? So let's get some more of this. Thou shalt not eat of it. Or Slakia. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. And sorrow, right? Verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shall thou eat bread, right? In the sweat of thy face. Write that down too, because that's important, right? Because he's cursing the ground, right? So it's not just going to yield forth its strength to her. He's going to actually have to work to actually get it to yield forth fruit, right? In order to eat, right? So write that down because that is key as well, right? And we also going to get into that a little bit later, right? Because this curse is going to tie also into Cain and Esau's curse as well, right? So let's go ahead and finish. 19. Let me read it over. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thy return unto the ground. For out of it was thy taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return, right? So now, everybody got a curse. You got the serpent, he's been cursed. You got Eve, and she's been cursed, and now you got Adam, and he's been cursed, right? So everybody's got their judgment from the Lord, right? So now let's go to Genesis. Let's go Genesis 4 and deal with Cain. But no, actually, Salakia. I still go to Genesis 4, right? But before we get into that, and before we make this next transition, right? You gonna have to understand something real quick. Now, if you don't grasp hold of this and you can't receive this, now we can still make our case without this. But this is just for those who are, in this truth and who got the ears to hear, and that are, seeking the Most High fully, right? So I got Slakia. This ain't what I'm looking for. Let me see. Slakia Israel. Slakia, let me try something. Let me see something. Maybe it's 5 and 20. Slakia, give me 1 second here. Slakia. And they hate me. Slakia. Oh, it's Exodus. Slakia. I wrote Deuteronomy. All right, now before we get into Cain, Slakia. Go to Exodus. Go to Exodus 20 and 5. Exodus 20 and 5. Now, before we get into Cain, right, you're going to have to understand what's going to connect these curses, right, and what ties them all in together is reincarnation, right? Yes, I said reincarnation, vocab Malone, right? Because that's how the Most High, carries his work out, right? And that's how these curses carry on from generation to generation because the people that he placed these curses on, they continue to come back, right? You see that? So in order to really, grasp and understand, this lesson, which is not really for everybody, it's really only for the elect, really, those who have the ear to hear, So in order for you to really grasp this, the fullness of it, you're gonna have to wrap your mind around the fact that the Most High deals with reincarnations, and to prove it, we got the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Now he's talking about idols, right? For I, the Lord, thy power, am a jealous God, right? Staking this claim, let you know that he's a jealous power, right? So we shouldn't worship nobody but him, right? But this last point is what I want, right? Because this is the bridge between reincarnation. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children until the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, right? So let's examine this, this scripture, right? He said, visiting the iniquity, right? Now, when the Most High visits iniquity, let's go ahead and get this real quick. Visiting Actually, let's just get visiting, right? And see what that word means. Because when the Lord pays you a visit, you know, it's not he's not showing up with roses in his hand. It's like you. All right, let's go into the scripture right here. Let's go ahead and get that word visit. Let's see what that means. All right, it's going to be Strong's. What is it? Let me see.
Strong's H6485. Pakad.
Strong 6485. Visiting. To attend to, muster, number, reckon, visit, to punish, right? That to punish, right? So when the Lord visits, he's coming to punish, to pay attention to, observe, to attend to seek, look about for, to seek in vain, right? So when the Lord visits, right, when he's visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, right? That visiting is he visits with punishments, right? Judgments, right? He's not showing up with flowers, right? So in this verse right here, the book of Exodus 20:5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers, right? Visiting the sin of the fathers upon the children, until the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, right? So that's letting you know, man, when these Most High put these curses on you, right? You're gonna live out the judgments for him, right? And he's gonna bring you back for you to live out those judgments now, and to also prove that, right? We finna go into the book of Cain. We finna go into the 4th chapter, and we finna deal with Cain. But before I deal with Cain, right? Because the Most High said he put enmity between the woman, and he put enmity between her seed and his seed, right? And Cain is the seed of the serpent, right? And we're gonna prove that real quick before we even go into his judgments, or his curses rather, right? So let's go to 1 John 3:12, right? Now the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 12, right? Because this is Cain is the seed of serpent. What is the seed of the serpent, right? And here's the proof. Got the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 12. Not as Cain, slacking. I'm sorry, verse 11. For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, right? Because love covers a multitude of sins, right? Verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one. You see that, right? The serpent's seed, Cain, right? Let's read that again. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother, right? So Cain is the seed of the serpent, right? Now, if you, if you can't receive this now, you got other ways to tie it in, right? But this is just, you just can't get no plainer than this, right? And wherefore slew he him, because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Now let's go ahead and get into Cain. All right, let's go back to the book of Genesis, chapter 4. All right. Got the book of Genesis, chapter 4. I'm starting at verse 1. And Adam knew his wife, and Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Right? So here it goes. You got Cain, you got Abel. Right? So let's go ahead and slide down. Right? As we know, Cain got jealous of his brother because of their sacrifices, right? Abel brought righteous sacrifice. Cain, his sacrifice wasn't acceptable to the eyes of the Lord, let's go ahead and just get some of it. I'll just read now. Verse 3, and in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, Yahweh. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Verse 5, but unto Cain and his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, which means angry, and his countenance fell. Verse 6, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fell? Why you mad, man? Why you down? Why your spirit down? Verse 7, if thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou not doest well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Right. So keep that in mind. This verse right here, Genesis 4:7. Right. Because we're gonna actually tie that. We're gonna actually get the precept for that. Right. But that's gonna be actually that's gonna actually tie Esau and Cain in together too. Right. Verse 8. And Cain talked with his brother and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field, Cain rose up against Abel and his brother and slew him. Verse 9, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Cain, where is thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Right? It's lying. Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. Right, in the book of Revelation, it tell you that the blood of the saints cried unto the Lord continuously. Roughly paraphrasing. So there is no such thing as a silent righteous man, right? Because that blood cries out to the Lord. Verse 11. Verse 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from it. Now, these curses that Cain finna get, right, they're going to be very important, right? And pay attention to them, because his curse is going to actually tie right on in to Adam's curse, particularly this first one that he's getting. Actually, all of them are going to tie into it, right? Verse 11, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. Right? So he cursed him from the earth, right? Verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, right? When he tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond should I be in the earth, right? So go ahead and write this down. When thou tillest the earth, it shall not shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength, because this is an important curse right here that the Lord is putting on Cain, man. Right, and the reason why it's important, because it's man, it's actually gonna cause servitude, man. Right, because if you look at the matter of fact, should we go ahead and get it now? Yeah, let me go ahead and start right here and get it now. Right. Nah, actually, we'll say that for later. Right, we're gonna go ahead and say that for later. Right, so right now he just said that when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond should I be in the earth. Right, so Cain is going to be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. Right, verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord Yahweh, Vashem Yahushai, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. Now, when the Lord hides his face from you, right, he hides his word from you. He hides his spirit from you, right? There is no repentance from you. That's why there's no, there's no mercy or no repentance found for Cain. I mean, it's like for Esau, right? Because it started here with Cain. You see? By the Most High hiding his face from him, right? Because Cain is Esau. We're going to get to that. We're about to get to that, right? But this is why there's no mercy for him, because he can't attain knowledge, man. The Most High hid it from him, right? And his form of knowledge is wickedness, man. It comes off the left-hand side, because he can't learn righteousness, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. Right? Remember this: a fugitive and a vagabond. Right? A fugitive is somebody who's on the run from justice, man. Right? A criminal. Right? Remember this, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me, and it shall come to pass. Now that's a future prophecy, right? So write that down too, because that's going to be important, because all of this is going to tie in, right? And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold, right? So the Most High, just put a hedge around Cain, right? Gave him a hedge of protection, right? So nobody, if anybody was to harm Cain, vengeance would be taken on them sevenfold, right? So nobody's going to be hasty to harm Cain, right? But that, the hedge of protection that he put on Cain is still on Cain right now to this day. But what we starting to see is starting to, come off of him. But I don't want to get too far ahead. Let's go ahead and finish this, right? And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him shall kill him. Now, this mark that the Most High just set on Cain, right, was a mark of leprosy, right? And that's one of the reasons why he had to send him out from among men, right? Let someone see him, they should kill him, because Cain just lost all of his melanin, right? Because this devil, this serpent, right, had melanin. And so did Cain, right? But when the Most High placed this mark upon him, right, it stripped him of that, of his melanin, right? So now he would be what you would call leprous, or white, in other words, right? Or red, whatever you prefer. All right. So let's go ahead and remember these things, right? Remember these prophecies, right? Remember it shall come to pass that they shall slay Cain. Right? Remember all these things. Just write these things down. Right? So now we're finna go ahead and move into Genesis 25, right? And get Esau. Right? So remember, we got every as far as the scripture is concerned, everybody that's that's in this story right now got curses on them. You got Adam, got curses. You got his wife, Eve, got curses. The serpent got a curse. And now the serpent seed, Cain, right, just got a curse. All right, so now we're finna go and deal with Esau. All right, so go to the book of Genesis 25. We're going to start at verse 25. Got the book of Genesis chapter 25, start at verse 25. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they call his name Esau, right? So go ahead and rate right now. Esau, he came out red, right? And it's a reason why he came out red, because actually this red is a form of leprosy. It is leprosy, right? This is actually Cain coming back again, right? And we're gonna prove that. All right, let's go. All right, from there let's go to 26. Now this is the birth of Esau. Right, we just read 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. Right, Genesis 25 and 26, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Right, so then out comes the brother, Jacob, and it says, Jacob took hold of Esau's heel, right? So write that down, right? Because that's important, right? Because these are the links, right? Now before we get any further, let's go ahead and deal with the redness of Esau, right? Because this redness is what you would call today as white or leprous, right? And to prove that, we're gonna go to the book of Numbers. Let me go back one. Go to the book of Numbers 12, verse 11. Actually, start at verse 10. Right, and in this account, right, you had Miriam, right? Speaking up against Moses, right? One of the Most High's prophets, right? The leader of Israel at that time, right? And the Most High was displeased with that, right? So what the Most High did was to show his displeasure as he put a curse on Miriam, right? The same curse that he put on Cain, right? So let's go ahead and get into this and prove that this red or this leprosy that was put on Esau or put on Cain is the same thing that was put on Esau, right? But Esau is just Cain returning, man. Inside of his curse, fully wrapped in the curses that the Most High put on him, right? Born into it, like Deuteronomy said, like Exodus. I'm slacky. We'll go back and read that. Right? Let's get this numbers right. This is how this is the connection between Esau's redness, right, and Miriam's her episode. But let's go ahead and get it. Got the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 10. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Right now, this is the curse that the Most High put on her, right, for speaking out against his prophet, Moses. And the same curse is the same curse that he put on Cain, right? And we can prove it because Cain is just coming back in in the form of Esau, right? With his curse is still intact, right? And to prove it, let's go down a little bit, right? Let's go to verse 11. And Aaron said unto Moses, at last, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not this sin upon me, right? Lay not this sin upon us, right? Because it's a sin to look like that, right? That's a curse. Why? Because everybody has melanin, man. Nobody looks this way, right? And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not this sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Right? Verse 12, this is the key right here. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. Now, he said, let her not be as one dead, because with no melanin, right, looking pale and leprous, right, she's a dead vessel, right? And the way she's looking, it's the same way Mr. Esau was looking when he came out, right here on the left side. Got the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 25. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. But this redness that you see is leprous, man. Right? It's leprous. Go ahead and get that again. Read it a little bit. Read it again. Slakia. Go ahead, man. What was Numbers? Yeah, Numbers 25. No, 12 and 11. Right? Let's read it again. Let her, verse 12, Numbers chapter 12, verse 12. Let her not be as one dead. Right? Because it's dead. You're a dead body looking like that, man. Of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. Right? So Esau is as death. Right? You see that? He is as death, right? To look like that is as death, right? But this is the, the marker that the Most High set upon evil, right? And that's what Esau represents, evil, right? And to prove that, right? To prove that, let's go to, actually before we prove that, let's go to Genesis 27. Slakia, not Genesis. Let's go ahead and prove how wicked that Esau is the wicked. Right? Let's go to the book of Job 9 to 24. Now the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? And to prove that Esau is the wicked and the world was given into his hands, when we go to the book of Genesis, chapter 27, 41, right? This is Esau receiving that blessing, right? Receiving the earth, right? In this blessing right here. Got the book of Genesis, chapter 27, start at verse 41. Slakia. Start at verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Has thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Right? So when Esau receives this blessing, this is actually him receiving rulership of the world. Right? Right? So, keep that in mind. Right? But we finna go ahead and get some more on Esau being the wicked. Let's go to the book of Malachi. Is it 2 and 1? It's like, I think it's 2 and 1, I believe. Is it 1 and 1? It's like, hold on. It's like Malachi 1 and 2. All right. Go ahead and get some more of this on Esau's wickedness, right? That proving that Esau is the wicked. Got the book of Malachi, chapter 1, start at verse 1. The burden of the word of the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. Verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau's Jacob brother, saith the Lord Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob. Verse 3, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished. We are impoverished, right? Remember this. But we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. Right. So here's the further scriptures proving that that Esau is the wicked. Right. Right. So let's go ahead and get some more of this. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16. Out of the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, right? Any fornicator or profane person, as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, right? You see that? So this guy right here is profane. He's profane above profane, right? Because what he sold, right, you can't compare nothing to it, right? And what's happening now is he's angry because he wanted back. That's why he's shutting down people that speak the truth on him. Right? But you've been exposed, devil, and you're gonna continue to be exposed. Right? So let's go to Habakkuk. Grab one more scripture on this, man. Show you how wicked this man is. Right. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto himself all nations, and heap unto himself all people. Now, Habakkuk just said that Esau is as death, right? The same, sentiments that Aaron uttered when he saw the way Miriam looked, right? Let her not be as one dead, right? So the wicked in these scriptures are clearly, identified. Now, to prove furthermore, right? Let's go back to Genesis real quick and go deal with his blessing. All right, Genesis, 27:41. All right, let's deal with his blessing. Got the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said, Behold, unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the door of heaven from above. Right? Fatness of the earth and the door of heaven from above, right? You got the best places on earth, man. Right? Rulership. Right? Verse 4. Now here's the key. And by thy sword shall thy live, and shall serve thy brother. Right? And by a sword shall he live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right? So Esau, this red man, was just blessed with a sword. Right? Let's go to book of Revelations. Right? Because we finna show you, or proving to you, that this guy is the wicked. Right? And he is also the seed of Satan. Right? But we just giving you a little background on him right now. Right? The scriptures are exposing this guy. Right? But remember, this is the seed of Satan. Right? This is Cain reincarnated all over again. Right? Now remember, we just read him receive rulership of the earth. Right? The fatness of the earth, and it was given unto him a great sword. Right? Now the book of Revelation 6 and 4 is going to show you, or prove and add to his wickedness. Right? Reveal him more. Got the book of Revelations, chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, right? Red like Esau. And this horse just represents power, right? And that power that we just seen him receive in Genesis 27:41 through a blessing, right? But not only did he receive receive power, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. But that power was given unto him to take peace from the earth, right? You see? The same red man that we just watched being birthed, right? The same one that came out looking like Cain. And that they should kill one another, right? And there was given unto him a great sword. Now we seen, right, Isaac bless him with that sword, right? And it's a reason why the Lord blessed him with that sword, right? So what we finna do now is go back and get some understanding, right? Because what he just did, right, when he blessed Esau, right? Because we got to remember, Esau is the man of the field. And not only that, Esau is Cain. Actually, let's go ahead and let's walk it back a little bit. Let's go to let's go revisit these curses that was put on Adam and Cain, right? As a matter of fact, let's start with Cain. Go to Genesis chapter 4. And let's go to the curses that he put on Cain. All right, we're going to start at verse 11. And now are thy cursed from the earth. And we're going to show you, right, and tie this in to why these curses, right, and how they affect, everybody. And even Esau, how he's tied into it as well, right? And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood. Right? So Cain is cursed from the earth. Right? Now let's see what that means. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. So Cain can't grow nothing. Right? He can till the ground all day long, but he's not going to be able to survive off of the earth. Right? So what's going to happen is he's going to have to be a fugitive and a vagabond, right? The Lord already said he's going to be a fugitive and a vagabond, but he's a fugitive and a vagabond that can't sow or reap. He can't till, right? He can't till the ground, right? So that's big time. Now we finna show you how that's relevant with Adam curses, right? So let's go back to Genesis 3. And let's go to verse 17, right? Because Cain was just cursed, and Cain's curse is not going to allow him to till the ground, right? And he's going to be a fugitive and a vagabond. Now, how this is tied in and how is it relevant to the curses that he put on Adam? Let's examine it, right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, right? So he cursed the ground for Adam too, right? But he did it in a different way. Let's check it. Let's look at this. In sorrow shalt thou eat of all the days of thy life, right? In sorrow, right? Mourning, right? Verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herbs of the field, right? Shall eat the herbs of the field, right? Now here's the point. Verse 19. And the sweat of thy face shall thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken. From dust thou art, unto dust shalt thou return. Right? So, previously to Adam sinning, right, and having these curses put upon him, right, the earth would yield their fruit to Adam, right, willingly. Right? The Most High set it up to where, Adam would want for nothing. Right? But now with these curses put on him, right, Adam is actually going to have to work in order to, get it, get the fruit from the ground, right? You're gonna have to till the land, right, in order to receive that food, right? Now, what makes that relevant, right, and why that's really such a big deal, because through these curses, man, the Most High set up, he really set things in place, like just right here with these curses. When you really look at it, because with this curse, when you think about it, the curse that he just put on Adam, right? Adam can actually till the land, but he actually has the work for it, right? So he's gonna have to put some sweat in, right? But Cain, on the other hand, right? Cain can't do it, right? So what is that telling us? A fugitive and a vagabond should not be in the earth. Now remember, Cain is Esau now, right? He is reincarnating Esau, but those curses that was on Cain, right? Esau is still wearing those curses, right? So when we look at the curses of Cain, let's go back to Genesis 4:1, right? Besides him being red, he's not going to be able to live off the land, right? Verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth, right? So when you look at Cain's curse, what the Most High just pretty much did is made Cain a needy man, right? He's gonna need somebody to actually grow his food for him, right? Because he's not gonna be able to do it himself, right? And not only just him, because Cain is Esau, right? He is the serpent's seed, right? And to go ahead and prove that real quick and get that out of the way, right? If you still haven't seen that yet, right? In the book of Genesis, the serpent in the book of Genesis 3, chapter 15, verse 15, Slakia, the Lord said, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, right? Hatred. And between thy seed and her seed, and between their children. And thou shalt bruise, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel, right? So the seed of the woman is going to bruise the serpent seed's heel. Now we've seen this in Genesis right here on the left side of the screen, on Genesis 25:26, right? Got the book of Genesis, chapter 25:26. And after that came his brother out. Actually, let me start at 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? Came out first. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Now, you said Jacob's hand took hold of Esau's heel when you come in that, right? And then right over here, Genesis 3 and 15, it says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now, right here during this birth, the woman's seed is bruising the serpent seed's heel, right? And the serpent seed heel that's getting bruised is good old Esau. You see that? Esau is the seed of the serpent, which is ultimately Cain just reincarnated. Right? So let's go from there, right, to add some more of this. Okay, because let's stop right here and look at Esau now. Because if Esau is Cain, that means those curses that was put on Cain, being a vagabond, right, a fugitive and a vagabond, right? You got that. You see you're a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth today, Mr. Esau. And you rule mightily with your sword. Right? But something else that probably don't get paid enough attention to is that curse about you not being able to till the ground, because what your father just did, which is ultimately the Most High when he gave you the blessing, right? Because remember, Esau, or Cain rather, let's go back to it. The Most High cursed him to where the ground would not yield unto him, right? So there's really no way for Cain, right, to eat off of the land, right? There's no way for him to grow food, right? So he's gonna need somebody to grow food for him, right? Which is ultimately Esau, and Esau's gonna need somebody to grow food for him as well, because he can't grow it himself either, because he's been cursed from the earth, right? And to prove that he can't grow anything on his own, right? Because he's a base man, right? Let's go to the book of Job, right? 30 and 3, right? Now, before Esau was able to really gain rulership and that blessing really take hold for him to rule with his sword, left alone and on his own, man, Esau can't survive on his own, right? Or Cain, right? Because they can't grow anything, right? So if they can't catch animals, man, they're going to resort back to their natural habitat. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 30, verse 3. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing to the wilderness, in former times desolate and waste, right? Because you're a base man. And if you're not in power, right, and they ain't got nobody in slavery, you can't really do anything of your own self, right? Because the Most High, cursed the earth from you, so you can't be no farmer. And even if you is farming, you're gonna need somebody to plant the seeds for you, because the earth is not gonna yield her strength unto you. And to prove that, we got the book of Job, chapter 30 and 4. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meats, right? Now, why would they have to cut up mallows and juniper roots for their meat, right? Because the earth is not going to yield her strength unto them, right? So what the Most High did, right, because he cursed Cain and made him a vagabond in the earth, right, which ultimately came back as Esau, right, is he gave him a big sword, man, to accommodate him being a vagabond and a fugitive in the earth, right? Because without that sword, man, Esau is nothing, man. You see that? He's nothing. He can't take care of himself, right? He can't provide for himself. He can't feed himself, because the earth is not working with him and dealing with him like that. So therefore, his only choice of survival, or only hope of survival, is turning to the sword. You see that? But not only just turning to the sword, But you're going to need your brother, Jacob, Adam, right? You're gonna need him. Why? Because his hands can still till the earth, right? The earth will still yield this fruit unto him, but he just has to work for it, right? So therefore, with you and your sword, what you're gonna do, or what the Lord's gonna force you to have to do, right, is you're gonna have to depend on slavery, man. You're gonna have to depend on servitude, man, because you can't do for yourself, right? It's all in the curses, man. All right. Now let's go get some more on this here, man. Let's go with, let me see real quick. All right, got that. All right, it said, go ahead and prove some more of this here, right? Grab some more of this serpent curse. This I will put enmity. Now remember, this is this Genesis 3:15. This is the curse that the Lord put on the serpent. And he said, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, right, which means hatred, and between thy seed and her seed, right, between the children. And it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Right. Now we seen you bruise his heel on the birth. Right. Now we finna go ahead and go to the scriptures where you actually bruise his head. Slot here. 1 second. Crown of thorns. All right, got the book of Mark, chapter 15, verse 17. Right, this is the serpent seed bruising the head of the woman's seed. Got the book of Mark, chapter 15, verse 17. And they clothed him with purple and plaited a crown of thorns and put it about his head, right? So that's the serpent seed bruising the head of our Lord, Yahweh Shai, right? And to get a little more on that, let's go to the book of, I think it's 2 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 11:3. Slocky, yeah. Oh, let's go on this side. 1 Corinthians 11:3. All right, this is another way how you the serpent seed bruised the head of the woman. Got the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 11. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahweh Shai Mashiach, right? The head that you bruised. And the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh, right? So that's another way that the serpent seed bruised the head of the woman's seed, right? Now let's go from there, and let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, because we'll show you another way that the 6 and 9 show you another way how the serpent seed's heel was bruised by the woman's seed, right? Because what that really just represents is a changing of the guard, if you will. Got the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, start at verse 8. Slakia, let me start at verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand first held the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? And that heel, this is also what that heel represents, the bruising of the heel, right? It just represents, the end of Esau's kingdom and the beginning of Jacob's kingdom. All right. So this is it, man. This is the birth, right, of wickedness, right? And this is how, the devil or the serpent, lost his melon. So let me go ahead and, glance over my notes and make sure I got everything. I know it's a rather long lesson. Oh, let me make one more point real quick before I close out. Well, nah, it ain't important. All right. Well, there you have it. All right. The birth of good, the birth of evil, right? And also, how the devil lost his melon. I might just name it that. All right. So I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to say, call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostle and elders, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the whole elect that's watching and learning. To you I say shalom. All right. Let's keep the pressure up on this devil. Right. He ain't got too many more places to run. He's almost about out of options. Like I stated previously, a couple other videos. He only got a couple of tricks left in this bag, man. That's going to be about it. Right. So I hope this lesson was edifying. I'm going to say, call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Brother Nakamaya, shalom.